We talked a lot as a staff about what we felt like was the best thing for us and give us the best chance to win the game. You guys are all going to be wondering who's going to be the quarterback. Spencer Rattler will be the quarterback for this game.
Oh my goodness, everybody, it is finally happening. Rookie quarterback Spencer Rattler has officially been named as the Saints starting quarterback in place of Derek Carr while he recovers from an oblique injury. Head coach Dennis Allen announced this news on Wednesday as they prepare for their home game versus their division rivals, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this comes after the news was reported yesterday that Derek Carr would miss multiple games with an oblique injury, which he suffered on Monday night versus the Kansas City Chiefs. There was some uncertainty of who would start between Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler, but it seems like we have our answer. And it's crazy to think that there was even any debates that Jake Haener should start over Spencer Rattler. No disrespect to Jake Haener, but simply just off of the preseason, Spencer Rattler was by far the better quarterback. But yet some people thought Jake Haener was going to start despite there being a report from Mike Garafolo and Ian Rappaport saying the Saints would strongly consider starting Spencer Rattler. I do understand some of the thinking though. Jake Haener has been the number 2 quarterback so far every single game this season behind Derek Carr. However though, I think that was more of an experience thing as opposed to that he won the backup quarterback job. Because while Jake Haener has been the number 2 quarterback throughout the first 5 games, Spencer Rattler is now the starter. So I think it was just an emergency type of situation as opposed to they thought Haener was better than Rattler. But like I already mentioned, when you look at the preseason numbers, the drives that they led, the numbers they put up, the scoring that they did, Spencer Rattler basically beat out Jake Haener in every category. In the categories Jake Haener did beat Rattler out in, he had more passing yards but also had more passing attempts and completions. It's pretty clear Spencer Rattler is the more talented guy, and that's nothing against Haener, that's just the truth. I'm excited to be partnering up with Bunches. Bunches is a really cool app that allows you to interact and talk with other sports fans in their group chat. It's essentially a group chat app, but specifically for sports. They have a scoreboard, hot takes, polls, raffles, rankings, and a lot more in their app. And in my bunch, which is what they call each chat, we make sure that everyone is able to watch the game, if you know what I mean. We make sure everyone has the resources and access to watch the games. All you have to do is download the Bunches app and use my referral link down in the description. It helps me and the channel out a ton. And if you want to help support me and the channel in any other ways, you can just click my link tree down in the description. There's lots of options for you there as well. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Let's get back to the video. After Dennis Allen announced the news, he said Jake Haener was disappointed, but obviously Spencer Rattler was excited for the opportunity. Now, I was a little surprised that Dennis Allen announced the news so early in the week as opposed to waiting till Saturday to have an advantage and to keep leverage over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and kind of hide who they're starting at quarterback. But hey, I'm not mad at it. We officially know that Spencer Rattler will be starting on Sunday. And the reason why this is such exciting news is because this is something a lot of us have never experienced. The Saints don't like drafting rookie quarterbacks, and when they do, they typically suck. For example, Ian Book, Garrett Grayson, not good names. However though, Spencer Rattler is different. While he was a 5th round pick, this was a guy who was supposed to possibly be a number 1 overall pick at some point. Fell in the draft. He was supposed to go on day 2. And the talent for this guy is 100% there. He is a guy who could end up being a top 32 quarterback in the NFL. His arm talent just by itself is probably one of the league's best. So the difference between this guy and other quarterbacks the Saints have drafted is the talent for him is there, which is why this is so exciting. We've never had a talented rookie quarterback start a game for us, at least in my lifetime in recent memory, probably since Archie Manning. It's also pretty clear that the coaching staff and Clint Kubiak and Andrew Janeko really like Spencer Rattler because they already had a young, somewhat talented quarterback in Jake Haener on the roster who is going into his 2nd season this year. But they decided to draft Spencer Rattler likely because they felt like he fit their system and their scheme and what they wanted to do. And on top of that, he has the potential to be a starting quarterback at some point in his career. So the coaching staff and Clint Kubiak and all of them likely know that Rattler has the talent, which is why he's going to be starting on Sunday. They also felt like Spencer Rattler's ability to move, use his legs, and run within the pocket should help, given the fact that the offensive line sucks and is half dead. On top of that, they've also mentioned that they feel like he gives them the best chance to win, and that also leads to the fact that Spencer Rattler has been proving that he is developing and looking well on the scout team. Dennis Allen says that he's looked good on the scout team. They had him mimic Patrick Mahomes on the scout team last week, so there's obviously talent there, which is why they feel like he gives them the best chance to win. Now that we officially know that Spencer Rattler will be starting for the Saints, likely for the next 2 games, possibly more, but at least for the Buccaneers and the Denver Broncos, how can the Saints make life easy for him through his first NFL starts? Because while there is a lot of expectations and a lot of hype, chances are there's going to be mistakes. He's a rookie who's never started an NFL game. He's playing behind a booty cheek offensive line. He's playing a good defense and then a good defense next week. So how can the Saints make life easy for him? And to me, one of the most obvious answers is get the ball to Chris Olave. Let Spencer Rattler and Olave get their chemistry built really fast. You would think it'd be ideal to get the ball to your best player, Chris Olave, but apparently Derek Carr and Clint Kubiak have not been wanting to do that the past few weeks. Chris Olave only had 2 targets from Derek Carr versus the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night, and I don't think it was an issue of Olave being clamped up or not getting open. I can pull up a screenshot, but when you look at the all-22 film of Derek Carr's interception on the opening drive, Chris Olave is wide open, and Derek Carr just doesn't throw it to him even though he is in sight, just chucks it up and gets picked off on one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see. And this was so frustrating that Chris Olave's brother even took to Twitter and posted his frustrations that he only had 1 target in the first half. Derek Carr, through basically 4 quarters, targeted Olave twice. Jake Haener went into the game for 1 drive and threw it to Olave twice. It's pretty clear that maybe just Derek Carr doesn't want to get him the football. So this week, make life easy for Spencer Rattler and design like 10 plays and target Chris Olave at least 10 times. And luckily for all of us, Spencer Rattler knows Chris Olave is a good player dating back to training camp. After they had gotten some reps together, got some practices in, Spencer Rattler was asked about Chris Olave and he said, "Dude is different. I make it a key point when he is in to get him the football."
Dude's different. I make it a key point when he's in, get him the ball. It's that simple.
What in game-breaking development in offensive systems. Getting the football to your best player, who would ever think of doing that? It really is that simple. Chris Olave has proven that he's taken a step in development and in his game this season. He's gotten better at making physical catches, has become a better blocker, has worked on getting yards after the catch, and yet Derek Carr and Clint Kubiak have struggled to get him the football despite him being the best player. In fact, he doesn't even lead the team in targets. That's Rashid Shaheed. And no disrespect to Rashid Shaheed, good player, but he is not Chris Olave. He's not as good of as a receiver as Chris Olave. And I don't think there should be any reason why he has more targets than Chris Olave. This is just another point that Derek Carr just chucks it up to Rashid Shaheed because he wants the big play rather than letting Chris Olave get the easy 10 yards. Not only was Spencer Rattler very fond of Chris Olave, but the 30-year wide receiver also had some high praise for the rookie quarterback during training camp after getting some reps together. Chris Olave said Spencer Rattler is really talented. His arm talent is off the charts, like we said earlier, one of the best in the NFL. He's going to be real good. I want to see him in action, but my first impression of him is he's going to be a really good player.
What are your early impressions from him?
He's real talented. That's the first thing I've seen from him. His arm talent is off the charts. He's real natural feel out there. He's going to be real good. I want to see him in action, but from my first impression, he's going to be a real good player.
And now Chris Olave and the rest of us will have a chance to see Spencer Rattler in action and see if the hype is real. And I know Chris Olave is excited because he told Saints reporter Nick Underhill that Spencer Rattler is exciting and that he's excited, that Rattler brings a lot to the table and that he's got a lot of talent and he's excited to work with him. We also got a quote from cornerback Paulson Adebo on Spencer Rattler saying, "I think he's really poised. He really knows defense. He's a good competitor, plays with a lot of fire, has a high IQ, so everybody's pretty confident in his ability and what he can do." This is really good coming from a guy who goes up against Spencer Rattler almost every single day. Dating back, probably going to May, he's seen him develop throughout the past few months. So this is some really good things to hear from Paulson Adebo, the Saints starting corner. So on top of getting the ball to their best player, the Saints also need to get the running game cooking again in this system to help Spencer Rattler's first start go smooth. The running game is a huge part in the foundation of the system. However, though, it hasn't been working the last few weeks, and a big part of that is because of the injuries to Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz, Lucas Patrick, how even the backup center got placed on injured reserve. So it's been a struggle running the ball, but also Clint Kubiak doesn't run the ball to Talise Fuaga's side. Instead, he runs it to Trevor Panning's side. Maybe try running the ball to the left. Also, the Saints should be getting Kendre Miller back this week, and hopefully he can help balance out the running game so Alvin Kamara doesn't get as many touches or as beat up. And in my opinion, Kendre Miller has top 5 talent on this team. He just needs to stay healthy and prove it. It's going to be tough though because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a really good run defense. They always play the Saints running game very well. Always do a good job of shutting down Alvin Kamara. So Clint Kubiak's going to have to find a way to make it work. Maybe get some jet sweeps to Rashid Shaheed or some handoffs to how even Mason Tipton. He's a pretty fast player as well. The Saints the last 3 weeks in all 3 of their losses have struggled to find a way to get their identity going in the running game like the first 2 weeks. So I want to see if Clint Kubiak can find a way to get the running game going to open things up for Spencer Rattler and make life easier for him and his first NFL start go smoother. And the final thing, I think the Saints need to do a lot more quick passes. Obviously, the offensive line has been a huge issue for the Saints dating back to like training camp and last season. It just isn't good. So quick passes should be a huge part of the game. Screens to Alvin Kamara, maybe some slants or quick out routes and curls to Olave. Just get the ball out of Spencer Rattler's hand fast. And he can put some zip on the ball. He'll get the ball out quick. And even if the offensive line doesn't hold up and they have longer developing plays, Spencer Rattler is not Derek Carr. Derek Carr is a statue in the pocket, and he becomes one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure if he feels like there's a guy around him and he starts seeing ghosts. Spencer Rattler in college dealt with a lot of pressure, always bounced back, and that was a huge reason why the Saints drafted him because of how he handled pressure. He can also move around in the pocket, roll out, and make throws on the run, and this is a mobile quarterback league, something Derek Carr just doesn't do. We even saw the benefits of it on Monday night. Jake Haener went in there and was moving around, running the ball, and found ways to extend plays. I think Spencer Rattler does a better job than Haener, but obviously that's an example that a mobile quarterback can make a huge difference for a bad offensive line. And obviously, Spencer Rattler dealing with pressure in college is different than dealing with pressure in the NFL. But given the fact that he's mobile and can move, I don't think teams are going to all-out blitz the Saints like they did when Derek Carr was starting, because now Spencer Rattler has a great arm, can make a lot of throws, and can move, and all-out blitzing him would not be ideal. Blitzing Spencer Rattler is very different than blitzing Derek Carr. I know we're all excited to see Spencer Rattler play, but we do have to manage the hype and the expectations a little bit. I know it's hard. I'm talking about myself as well, because he is a rookie starting in his first game against a really good defense and a defensive-minded head coach. And then on Thursday versus the Denver Broncos, they're playing one of the best defenses in the NFL. His offensive line isn't very good. The supporting cast isn't the best for him. There's going to be mistakes, and that's okay. He's a rookie. Caleb Williams took 5 weeks to finally start cooking. It's okay if Rattler struggles. The good news, though, is that Dennis Allen said that there won't be a short leash on Spencer Rattler. They're not going to pull him if he makes a mistake or turns the ball over. They're going to let him play it through. Dennis Allen said, you have to let the guy go out there and play. He's going to start, he's going to lead a team, and then we'll go from there. And look, the best way for players to improve, especially young players, is by letting them make mistakes, learn from them, and then get better. And that's something Spencer Rattler has done pretty well. Look at the Cardinals game. He missed a back shoulder fade to Samson Nacua. 2 plays later, learned from that mistake and threw it on the money to Samson Nacua on the exact same throw. You got to learn from those mistakes, and Spencer Rattler can do that. And luckily, the Saints are not having a short leash on him. Whether or not Spencer Rattler looks good or bad, Dennis Allen said, no matter what, Derek Carr, when he is back and healthy, he will be the starter. And I'm not trying to make this sound like I want Rattler to play more, but honestly, Derek Carr needs to make sure his body is 100% before he comes back. I don't want any lingering issues for him in his personal health and his life. I want it to be 100% when he comes back, not like 80% pushing through. I don't want something to get worse, so take your time. And it does make sense that Dennis Allen would want Derek Carr, his guy, to be the starter once he comes back. But if Spencer Rattler looks good in these next few games, and then you put Derek Carr in there, there's going to be mayhem in the city of New Orleans. But that's a little ways down the road. Let's just get excited from now as Spencer Rattler prepares to make his first NFL start on Sunday versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me know what you make of Spencer Rattler being named the starter over Jake Haener. Was it a good or a bad move? Subscribe to my channel, Cash Sports, for more daily NFL content and up-to-date news. Have a good one. Peace.